everyone, welcome back. Thanks for joining me for week 2 of Voyages 3, 4, 5, and 6. I've been asked a question about what I think about using a line of credit and why I'm not using just my line of credit. Well, one of the reasons why I'm not using just a line of credit is because I've been using bill matching and also weekly chunking to increase my cash flow. And the bill matching, an example was last week, I used my Citibank card to pay my internet bill, and then I sent the payment to the Citibank where it would have been $150, 75 to Citibank, 75 to the internet. But since I combined the transactions, I only needed to send 75 to the Citibank. So I then opened up $75 of cash flow that I can use to send to one of these debts I'm currently using for the voyage. And then I also use the weekly chunking because that is my extra cash flow for that week. And then on top of that, I use what's called zero-based budgeting, and that way I can use every available penny while chunking, and that way I don't over chunk or under chunk. I know exactly the amount to use. But since I can't move the entire debt to the line of credit right now, I'm using the chunking method. But when I do get the line of credit to be more efficient, I will be focusing on that as my debt tool. And as you can see by my sailboats, there has been difference in numbers. So we'll jump into that. We'll start off with a line of credit. We start off with a balance of $10,670.02. And then we did use that $950 that was set aside. And $9.50 went to interest, $925 went to expenses, and then that remaining amount stayed into the line of credit, giving it a new available amount of $395.48, where it was previously at $379.98. And then for our weekly breakdown of January 5th through January 11th, we once again used our $950. And then 25 of it stayed into line of credit. And then we used $125 to pay towards both line of credit 2 and line of credit 3. And that again is for the mortgage for the end of the month. Discover One got a payment of $235. And then $163 was sent to the student loan, which gave us a total expenses of $673. And then when we take that $673 off the income, it gives us a cash flow of $277. And then since I had some interest on the American Express, I decided to go ahead and add that onto this starting balance, and that was $32.93 I added on to the start balance. And it was calculated that we'd have $150 to pay off when actually it was $182.93, since that $32.93 was interest, but that got us to a zero. So then the remaining amount got divvied up between the other three, where the car was at $1,625. It got a payment of $30.07. So now it's at $1,594.93. The dryer was at $875, and after the $30 payment is down to $845. The overdraft was at $406 and received a payment of $34. And now has a balance of $372. So this gave us a total of $877 that's been paid off in 2 weeks. And then I think what I'll do is, as we start adding in interest, I'll just add it to the starting total and just kind of make note about the interest payment. That way we have an actual total of the amount that got paid off. And then we'll jump on to what happened with our Discover cards. The only thing that happened was Discover One got a normal payment, and it was at $232, but I rounded up to $235. So that balance transfer 2 was at $6,650, and it's now down to $6,415. And then that brings our available up to $2,655. And then it dropped minimum payment from $351.60 to $346.90. And then the reason for the $232 was it just happened to be the new balance transfer just now kicked in for the new payment on that, where the previous balance did not have it on there. So that's why it was a lower rate, and now it's going to be the $346.90. And then we look at what's happened so far on our log. Let me push that up a little bit. And this shows on the January 5th that we did $277 and that we're at 23.77% paid off already, and there was a balance remaining of $2,844.86. And thanks again for joining me. I'll be updating again next week, and we'll see you then. Thank you. Bye.